Hey folks, Country Prepper here. So I'm going through my bug out bag, deciding what all I want to take for the bug out camp coming up in May. And I like to use this opportunity to try something new out. That way I can still have my old setup in the truck with me, just in case my new setup doesn't work, and just to see if something works better. If it doesn't, just trying out some different things to improve the capabilities of my bug out bag. Different. It's going to change the weight. It's going to change your complete configuration for different shelter setups. So what I thought I'd do today is go through a bunch of the different shelter setups that I've used so far and show you what I'm planning to take with me in May for the bug out camp. So first up, what I had in my very first bug out bag, it worked, but it was not the best system. And what I mean when I say system, it's not just what I'm going to have over top of my head like the tarp or anything like that. I'm a firm believer in having something underneath you, something over top of you, and possibly, if you need it, something next to you also. So my first setup, this is the SOL Emergency Heavy Duty Blanket, and this is a 5x8 reflective blanket. It's kind of like a Mylar blanket, but it's really thick, really durable, has like a rubberized coating on one side of it. It's OD green, so it works really well for setting up a super shelter. If you don't know what a super shelter is, they're all over YouTube. But what you do is you set something like this up with a reflective surface in a tarp lean-to configuration with, of course, the shiny side pointing down towards you, and then you take a roll of clear plastic. The stuff I had with me before was 2 mil, and I think it was like a 12 by 15 or something like that. This one's just 9 by 12, so obviously this isn't big enough, but like I said, it's just for an example. But what that does is you have to keep a fire going all night, and you probably want a body length, a nice long fire, something that's going to burn for a long time. The problem with that in using it in a bug out bag is if it's the type of danger that you're trying to get away from, if there are other people out and about, from whatever's going on, they're going to see that fire from a long ways away. So that's the downside to that shelter system, is it does require that heat source from the fire in order to stay warm. Now, what I had for a bivvy, and I just had this Fleece Sleeping Bag, which is only good down to 40 degrees at best, probably 50, but if you have a bivvy, that really helps a lot. So I had one of these. It's the Endure Pro Force, whatever you want to call it, emergency survival bag, and this is it's just like Mylar. It's basically the same thing as this, just in a sleeping bag, envelope sleeping bag type of configuration. So it would help keep your body heat in, but it also, because it's Mylar, it doesn't breathe. So if that super shelter gets nice and toasty warm, you're going to start sweating, and then you're going to be wet when you wake up and get back out in the cold. So the more I thought about it, that was just a bad system. The other things I had going along with that system was, this is just a window car shade, and what that is, it's reflective on the one side. It provides just a slight bit of padding, but I also had 55-gallon drum liners to fill full of leaves or whatever and have a little bit of insulation underneath you. And then this just reflects, keeps the convection from the ground, pulling the heat out of your body. So that was the idea behind that. But, the more I thought about it, and you already have a reflective surface here, a reflective surface here, that was really unnecessary. But every little bit you can get underneath of you is better, but it was over redundant in my opinion. So I also had my wool blanket with me. In fact, that was also part of my second shelter system. So I had the wool blanket once again, but this time, and I have a video of this, my Bug Out Bag Overnighter gear testing video. I'll leave links to that up in the corner over here. But what I had for a tarp over me instead of that Mylar blanket type is just my military poncho. And so I used it, and I believe I had this with me, the Fleece Sleeping Bag, the wool blanket, and that's when I was doing a test of this original trifecta. And it only got down into the mid-40s that night, so I was comfortable. I wasn't, well, I'd say I was okay. I wasn't real comfortable, but I was okay. I stayed warm enough, that's for sure. So I also had the plastic drop cloth with me for that as well, just in case I did need that extra heat. Now what I was using for a ground cloth was this all-weather base tarp, and this is kind of a diamond shape. That did not work out very well, so that got pitched. And then the second time that I went out to try this system out, I took this one with me, and this is just that cheap, like a $10 tarp that you used to be able to get at Walmart. I don't know if they still have it or not, but it's kind of like a sil nylon type of tarp. It's not actual sil nylon, but that's what it feels like. But it's really cheap, really lightweight, and very small package. So this would be something good to put in, you know, like a get-home bag or something like that. But anyhow, I already got the cordage and everything. I was still in there, actually. So that was my second attempt at building a system. So the most recent time that I went out and tested this, my shelter systems, was the last time that I went out to a bug out shelter of my friend's on his property, and I just didn't get hardly any footage of it. All the camera shots were horrible, and that was that old camera that just sucked. So you know, all the footage that I got from that was pretty much ruined except for one video, and even it was kind of iffy whether I wanted to put it up or not. So I did have this with me once again, but I didn't use it. So that kind of got pitched to the side. I'm not sure if I'll keep putting it in my bug out bag or not. But for that, I actually just wanted to be a little more comfortable. It only got down into the 50s, so it wasn't cold by any means, but I did have the wool blanket with me. I used it, I just had it underneath of me in my hammock. So I tried a hammock setup that time, obviously, and then I had this I got from Bass Pro Shops as a 10 by, I think it's a 10 by 12 tarp or something like that. And not too bad of a buy, but it's real lightweight and packs up pretty small. So for a 10 by 12 tarp, that's a pretty small footprint in your bag. But that time I was testing out the Trifecta version 2, and I was really happy with that. I'll say that. We had a little bit of dew that morning, but I was nice and dry. I was happy. Everything was going great. Like I said, I had the wool blanket just underneath me in the hammock just for some convection reasons. And then I also had this fleece sleeping bag with me once again. And you know, like I said, I was comfortable. Most of the night, all I had over top of me was the top layer of the Trifecta. So, you know, I stayed nice and plenty warm in that. The only problem I had was it was just at that temperature where there were still some mosquitoes flying around. And so I was going from having something wrapped up around my head trying to keep the mosquitoes away from me, and then I'd get hot and throw everything off, so I didn't sleep very well that night. But, well, 2 nights in a row, actually. So we stayed out for the whole weekend on that one. But that was a pretty good shelter setup for like a spring or fall, even summertime bug out bag. If it just for summer, I think I would actually get rid of the wool blanket because it would be unnecessary. And a wool blanket is pretty heavy, especially the 100% wool ones. So that was a pretty good setup. Now let me show you what I'm planning on taking for this next trip. So for the first time, I'm going to try out a tent. And this is a Tech Sport 2-person, just like a basic pup tent style. And there's been a lot of pretty good reviews on it. It needs some small modifications, like the cordage that comes with it is junk, and so I'll be replacing that with paracord. I'm not sure about the stakes yet. I might replace those with some better stakes. Of course, it's going to have to be repackaged. I'll get a stuff sack for it, get it in a smaller footprint in my pack, that sort of thing. But I just wanted to try out and see if it helps lighten things up just a little bit, instead of carrying, you know, like 2 tarps, a hammock, blanket, sleeping bag, you know, all that stuff. I think it's going to lighten the load a little bit for me. So that is the actual shelter. Now I am going to take the Trifecta version 2 with me just in case, depending on the forecast for that weekend. It is, you know, towards middle, in between middle and the end of May. So you just never know what the temperature is going to be that time of year here in Iowa. So I am going to take this Mangrove sleeping bag with me, and it's supposed to be good down to 40 degrees by itself. So between that and the Trifecta bivy, well, of course it's more than just a bivy, but you get the idea. I'll use it as a bivy, and I think that will keep me really good down to a little under 30 degrees if it should happen to get that bad. One thing that I forgot to mention in the hammock setup that I had is I did have this bedroll, just regular closed cell foam bedroll, and then this stuff. This is Reflectix. You can get this at like Home Depot or any type of building center, hardware store, stuff like that. This is an excellent insulation. It's kind of like bubble wrap with a Mylar blanket on each side of it. If you've never used this stuff, it's really amazing. So this will actually be rolled up inside of here and then put on the bottom of my pack. And so I haven't decided which backpack I'm taking because I don't know how everything's going to fit, you know, fit the best. So that'll kind of be determined by the weather for that weekend. So we'll see what happens. But anyhow, this provides a really excellent barrier against convection, so that the heat, you know, the heat in your body isn't getting pulled out by the cold ground, because even in May, it's not going to be, the ground is still going to be cold. So, I mean, even in, you know, the early summer, the ground is will still pull the heat out of your body. So, something to keep in mind. But between this and this, that provides a really great insulation barrier from the ground. And then the sleeping bag and the Trifecta, I think, will keep me plenty warm. One comfort item that I am going to allow myself that I've never done before, I always used to just roll up my shemagh and stick it underneath on my neck, but the last time, with all the mosquitoes flying around, I had to drape it over my head so I wasn't getting bit by mosquitoes, so I could still breathe. So I will have my shemagh with me, but I want a pillow. So I got a little inflatable pillow, just real cheap one. It was kind of an Amazon add-on for that tent so that I'd get free shipping. So I thought I'd try it out, see if it's worth its weight. It weighs really very little, 0.35 pounds is what it says. So I think it would be worth carrying to get a decent night's sleep. And you know, if you're bugging out, if you do have the opportunity to sleep, you're going to want to be able to get the best sleep you can. So that's what my thought process is behind taking the pillow with me. I think it'll be worth its weight. One more thing about the tent, I am going to take the poles that come with it with me. But I'm going to try to see if I can, because of the tying points on this tent and maybe a couple tarp clips, I think I can get away with setting this tent up with a ridge line instead of using the poles. That would save some weight and a little bit of space. The poles don't take up a lot of space and they weigh very little, but they're kind of thin, and I think in harsh conditions, I think they would get damaged. So I think it would be better off to be able to set it up with a ridge line if possible. So I think I'm going to try that configuration if possible. So like I said, you know, and again, it'll save space, save weight, even if it's only just a few ounces. A few ounces here and a few ounces there add up really fast. So anyway, the main point of this video is I would like to get you guys' feedback on what kind of shelter system you keep in your bug out bags. What have you tried before, and what have you found out did or did not work. Just things along those lines. Like I said, I've said it plenty of times before. I learn just as much from you guys as you do from me, if not more. So, you know, I really appreciate all your comments, all your feedback, and that's what we're here for, to learn from each other. So please leave me a comment, and as always, hit that thumbs up button if you found this helpful at all. Share it with your friends, and I thank you for watching. See you next time.